Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and again I'm going to select this duplicate class, and I'm going to go append on the live event handler. Now inside here I want only specific events to be taken into account. So I'm going to set the click event, and I'm going to say this. In fact, sorry, we need curly brackets in here, and we'll just go ahead and bring this down. And I'm going to say on click event I want to run a particular function. So on the click event I'm going to say alert you have clicked. So now what we're doing is we're running click inside live as almost as it is an event within this function, if you like, but we're running it sort of as an option. So we're saying live click, and we can add more down here. So you could comma separate these and go ahead and say DBL click, for example, and you could append more on. Again, that's written in the jQuery documentation. So when we click now, this is going to have exactly the same effect. When we click this button, we get this alert box appear. The only difference now is when we use the same as we did before with this dot after, and we add more code in. So I'm going to say input type equals button, the value equals click, and we'll go ahead and add the class in as well, which is duplicate. Now what's going to happen is, because we've appended the live event handler on as opposed to just click, this will be able to pick up new elements that have been added sort of inside of this event handler. So now when we refresh and we click, we have the same message up, and we click OK. We have the same thing happen as we did before, but this time, because we're using live, when we click this, we get the same message, and we can just continue literally generating buttons. So obviously, in this sense, with generating button after button, doesn't really make sense. But you could apply this to things like a good example would be to apply this to input types with file. Now you might want to say, in fact, let's go ahead and we'll write it out. We'll say input class equals file type equals file, and we won't choose a value. Okay, so now let's just go ahead and get rid of this code here, and let's go ahead and refresh. We've got choose file, and I can go ahead and select a file here, any file that I want. Now what I want to happen is I want a new one of these, or a new input type of file to be generated once I've selected a file from this one. So we'll go ahead and we'll reference .file because we've given it a class of file, and then we'll say .live, and in here I want to go ahead and just specify change, and when this changes, i.e. when a file is selected, I want to go ahead and say this dot after, and I want to create a new file input. So type file and class equals file. Okay, so this isn't like completely foolproof, I guess, because if you think about it, we're going to go ahead and choose a file now, tartan.jpg. That's changed once we select this in, and another file box has been generated. I can then go ahead and choose another file, and a new one's generated. So we're applying like the same action to each class, and we can only really do that using live. Can only really do that using live, as we saw with the button example. But if I was to go ahead and change this file here to something, we get another one as well. So I mean, this is a quick example of how we could use it with generating these. Also, you are going to have the problem with names as well. You need to give it a unique name here, but obviously because this is just an example, I'm not going to go through and explain all of that, but that's something to think about with the live event handler, and how we can specify events within it, but apply it to the same class as we initially selected.